Ever since I was a small child, I have been suspicious that the way the world works is quite different. The way that really works is quite different from the way my betters would like me to believe that it works. I remember busting my mother playing the Easter Bunny, putting out candy one day. After that, it was all downhill. And now that I am old, uh, I can safely tell you that most of the stuff you learn from your parents and in high school and probably in college as well about the way the world works is hogwash. It's crap. I work with a young man from Iran. He's here in the United States on a student visa, and he told me a little story that sort of illustrates the whole point. Iran is under international sanctions. A lot of products cannot be, common everyday products as well as a lot of high tech products cannot be legally imported into Iran. The point of this international arm twisting is to get the Iranian government to stop trying to develop nuclear weapons, stop trying to purify uranium into weapons grade plutonium. These sanctions have made life difficult for everyday workaday Iranians. It's hard to get all the things together that you need to live. But it hasn't done a darn thing to put any pressure on the ruling class of Iran. The Revolutionary Guard is a military organization. They are political troops. They're very similar to the SS under Hitler or the Republican Guard under Saddam Hussein. The professional Iranian military is a separate organization. The Revolutionary Guard answers directly to the people who rule Iran. As my friend found out when he worked at a Revolutionary Guard airfield for a while, the Revolutionary Guard is involved in systematic smuggling in and out of Iran. And it's not the kind of smuggling you might think. They're not sneaking in high-speed computer parts or weapons or things to make a nuclear bomb or a high-speed computer. What they're flying in is plane loads of sheep, television sets, Scotch whiskey, cases and cases of cigarettes, medicine, all this stuff that the embargo has prevented normal Iranians from importing themselves. All this stuff gets sold on a black market at a huge markup, and the profits from that markup go into the pockets of the ruling class of Iran. As a result, the countries around Iran are receiving a great deal of investment income from Iran as these wealthy, well-connected, politically connected Iranian officials move their profits out of the country for safekeeping. The national airline of Georgia is owned by Iranians. One of the biggest banks in Georgia is owned by Iranians. Turkey gets a big chunk of Iranian investment. Dubai gets a big chunk of Iranian investment. The only people that don't get Iranian investment are everyday Iranians. The sanctions, the embargo, represent a unique business opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime chance to become exceedingly wealthy. And the ruling class of Iran is not going to pass it up. If tomorrow the nuclear program were to come to a crashing halt, maybe they just can't figure it out, the Iranian government would have to invent some other world-threatening thing to keep those sanctions in place. Nobody is going to kill this fat calf that's making everybody wealthy. My parents, my teachers, most of the other officials in the world, well, all the wise men of the world will have you believe that governments represent the interests of the people that they govern. And all I can say to that is bullshit. Governments, all governments, even our government, are organizations, and all organizations have an agenda that is unique to that organization. The welfare of the people who are ruled by those governments, the people who contribute to these organizations, is secondary. I used to think that George Bush was one of the stupidest, most incompetent presidents we'd ever had. But then I stopped to consider that the people who had put him in power, the corporations and the Texas oil millionaires that had paid for his candidacy, did great under his presidency. The oil price was driven up to $100 a barrel by invading Iraq, which was the third largest oil producer in the world. They destroyed the Iraqi oil production capacity, and it's never been replaced. Corporations like Halliburton, Bechtel, Brown and Root, all big Republican contributors, got billions and billions of dollars in taxpayers' money. Most of it has never even been accounted for. They were literally shipping bales of money around on pallets, and it was never seen again. From these people's point of view, they're the ones that put Bush into power. He was brilliant. He was one of the best presidents they've ever had. I voted for Barack Obama basically because I was afraid of this country becoming a theocracy, just like Iran, ruled by a bunch of Christian or Mormon whack jobs instead of mullahs. Honestly, I don't think there's much difference between the two of them. But the truth of the matter is that Obama has his own constituency, and it's not the American people. It's basically the Wall Street bankers. If you'll notice, his cabinet is comprised almost entirely, his financial cabinet is comprised entirely of Wall Streeters, ex-Wall Streeters, ex-bankers. Nobody has gone to jail as a result of the 2008 crash and the manifestly fraudulent behavior during that period. The much touted new regulations that are supposed to prevent a recurrence of the 2008 crash have largely been gutted. Key provisions have been ignored or changed. The agencies that are supposed to enforce these regulations have been defunded. Obama is a tool of Wall Street. And I would venture to say that whoever the next president is going to be, he will also have to be a tool of Wall Street. Right now, Wall Street is shopping around for who will be their representative, who will represent their interests in the halls of government in the upcoming new administration. So there you go, folks. If you want to know the truth about anything, follow the money. It'll tell you, if you find out who's making money, who's losing money, you'll understand almost any situation that is mystical on this planet. So, thanks for watching. Hope you learned a little bit about how the world really works. Bye.